Maine.
Mr. President, this is the 41st day of an entirely unnecessary government shutdown, a shutdown that never should have occurred, a shutdown that has caused tremendous harm to the American people, to our national security, to our entire country. A shutdown that has resulted in federal employees being furloughed, laid off, or forced to work without compensation. A shutdown that is causing enormous uncertainty and stress for families that rely upon the SNAP program for the nutrition that they need. A shutdown that is causing families to wonder, are they going to be able to fly to see the grandparents on Thanksgiving? A shutdown that never should have occurred. Mr. President, we finally have the ability tonight to end this shutdown. We have put forth the Appropriations Committee, working in a bipartisan way with members on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers, a package of bills that includes a continuing resolution that will reopen government immediately once it is passed by this Senate, the House, and signed into law by the President. It is legislation that, due to incredibly good work by Senators Jeanne Shaheen, Tim Kaine, Katie Britt, the White House, and many of us, will ensure that those federal employees who have been furloughed or laid off or forced to work without pay will receive their back pay, will be recalled to their jobs if they were laid off as a result of this shutdown. That will make a huge difference to these federal employees who have worked so hard to serve the people of our nation. This package of bills also includes three year-long appropriations bills that were passed by overwhelming margins, bipartisan margins, more than 80 votes in each case by the members of this Senate way back on August 1st. These bills are the agriculture bill, the agriculture FDA bill, which Senator Bozeman chairs that subcommittee, and it includes funding for the SNAP program, for the Women's, Infants, and Children's Nutrition Program known as WIC, for our farmers, for rural development, for our rural communities throughout this country. A very important bill, a bill that will take away the worry that families who are low income, that seniors who are low income and rely upon the SNAP program or the WIC program are feeling today about whether the funding is going to be there. That concern goes away with the passage of this full year appropriations bill that extends until the end of September of next year. A second bill in this package is the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs bill. That subcommittee is chaired, I've actually mixed up the two subcommittees. Agriculture is chaired by Senator Hoeven, and the military construction VA bill is chaired by Senator Bozeman. They are both extraordinary chairmen who work in a bipartisan manner with their ranking minority members and with their House counterparts. Think about it. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Wouldn't it be wonderful if tonight the Senate passes the bill that provides year-long funding through the end of this fiscal year to September 30th of next year for our VA? What a way to tell our veterans how much we value their sacrifice and their service, a debt to them that we can never fully repay. That is so important to get that bill through. And military construction projects, what a difference that makes to our troops all over the world. There are two that matter a great deal to me in the state of Maine. One that will help the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, which I worked with my fellow senator from Maine and our two senators from New Hampshire, and one that will benefit the Air National Guard base in Bangor, Maine, where I live. I am so proud of that base. It does more refuelings than any base on the East Coast during wartime, and it is extraordinarily skillful and filled with patriots. They will be taken care of, Mr. President. And the third bill is the legislative branch bill. That bill answers concerns that a lot of our members have about security in this increasingly polarized and difficult environment in which we live. But that's not all, Mr. President. And I want to correct any misimpression that has been given by some who have spoken today on the other side of the aisle. The Senate Majority Leader has given a public commitment that he will bring to the Senate floor bills that extend the Affordable Care Act, which unfortunately has turned out to be anything but affordable, but it will extend the premium tax credits that allow our lower income and middle income families to afford their much needed health insurance. In many cases, these are individuals who are self-employed, so they do not get health insurance through the workplace, or they're the employees of small businesses that are unable to provide health insurance, particularly in this time when we're seeing skyrocketing premiums. So as I've said from the beginning, I support an extension of the ACA tax credits, but they need reform. It is wrong that wealthy families qualify for taxpayers' subsidized tax credits for their health insurance when they can afford their own health insurance. That was a change in Obamacare that was made during COVID. We should take a look at what the original income cap was under the Affordable Care Act. It was 400% of the poverty level. Now, we can decide what it should be, but surely we ought to be able to agree in a bipartisan way that there should be some cap on income so that very wealthy individuals are not able to receive taxpayer-funded tax credits. Let's limit that to those who are in middle income and lower income families. So there are other great ideas that have been raised by our colleagues on how we can reform the ACA to make health insurance more affordable. And I know that the chairs of both the Health Committee, Senator Cassidy, who is a medical doctor, as well as Chairman Mike Crapo from the Finance Committee, have promised to have hearings to take a hard look at this, and we have the commitment of the majority leader to bring these bills to the floor. So it's just not true that we're ignoring this issue. We do need to act by the end of the year, and that is exactly what the majority leader has promised. In addition, he has pledged to bring additional year-long appropriations bills to the Senate floor, and we will be doing that shortly, and that is the right thing to do. I want to thank the eight Democrats who yesterday stood up for the American people and did what was right, pledged to reopen government, to pass these 3 appropriations bills that members of this chamber passed by over 80 votes on August 1st, and which will take away the threat of any kind of shutdown for the programs in those 3 bills. And as I mentioned, the last bill is the Ledge Branch bill. I want to thank Senator Mark Wayne Mullen for his leadership on that bill as well. We have terrific members of the Appropriations Committee on both sides of the aisle who have worked so hard. And I must say that I think all of them ought to be voting for this package of bills tonight. Mr. President, I made most of my comments yesterday when I brought these bills to the floor. There are others who are seeking recognition, so I will cease my remarks, but I just want to encourage everyone to cast their vote for this package of bills so that we can send it over to our House colleagues, where I hope they will do the same, and then send it to the President, who has already endorsed this package and pledged to sign the bill into law. Let's end this entirely unnecessary, shameful shutdown. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that there be 2 minutes of debate equally divided prior to each roll call in relation to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371.
Without objection.